you're good. You're welcome to speak, though. You make the motion, you can speak first.
Well, it's good to see this on the table. It's been 3 years now since people have been shoving it into my ear, more or less, when we're going to clean this up. And I respect all the council's decisions on this issue. But I've been at this now for, like I said, 3 years, and it's an eyesore, and it's right in the heart of Chatham, really. It should have been cleaned up a long time ago. I'm sure, no offense to anybody, I'm sure if this was in downtown Newcastle, it would have been gone in a month. I'm sure of that. Because people wouldn't.
I thought we had gotten to a point in this chambers where we're past Councillor King's from Chatham and Councillor Summers is from Newcastle. Because truthfully, that mentality, in my mind, is what held this city back for the first, I don't know, 18 years of its existence. So I'm not real impressed with that comment. I understand 100% the rest of Councillor King's comments, because I know that this file has been a pain in his ass for 3 to 5 years. I get it. But to come out there with that, saying that if it was over here that it'd be done within a month, totally not necessary. Expect better if you, at this point, Councillor King, to be perfectly honest. And I said I wasn't going to rant tonight, but here we go. But anyway, I'm not in favor of this simply because I work in the real estate industry, as you know. So I did a little bit of a comparative market analysis this afternoon, and it was a quick one. It took me about 15 minutes. The reality is there's 2 properties in close proximity to 4 Johnson Street. By the way, it's not 2 Johnson Avenue, it's 4 Johnson Street. We were real close to, making a motion on the entire mall. But at the end of the day, it's 4 Johnson Street. It's about 1,365 square meters, so a little better than a quarter acre for a vacant piece of land, which I've referred to as a pile of rocks. And I went down there today and took some photos of what we're about to pay over $250,000 for, just to verify that I knew in my big head what it was we were looking at buying today. And don't get me wrong, you do have a view of the river there. It's beautiful. Our station wharf that we invested heavily in, beautiful. But we are basically buying a pile of rocks at 4 Johnson Street. And for comparison's sake, within the last 7 months, 2 properties in that downtown core have sold for less than half of the price that we're about to pay for this particular property. The most notable one was just last month, formerly known as Dewey Photography. Granted, building not in the greatest condition, but a solid structure that's currently being renovated into a viable business, I believe. Not as big of a piece of property, but still a property that's right there and had the view of the river for $115,000. And a little bit further down the road from there, what was formerly known as the Tozer Insurance Building, a property that I actually managed to sell this past year. Beautifully renovated building from top to bottom, a very nice business being run on the main floor, a counseling business, and a 2-bedroom apartment up top that's providing some housing in our downtown, which is great. Went for $149,000 this past June. I don't believe you can see the river from that property because Dan Jardine's beautiful development's kind of blocking it, but you can see where I'm going with this. We're still about $120,000 above what that property sold for. So, I mean, that's in terms of what I do in my real world, as far as why I obviously feel so emotional about this, basically throwing $100,000 away to, a seller that's got to be thrilled with this, process. The only other thing that really rattles me about this whole thing is how the whole process played out. Because earlier this year, we brought in Mr. Scott from Trace Designs and told the world publicly how important it was for us to acquire this property as part of our downtown redevelopment plan. And it is, don't get me wrong, it's part of that whole, we've invested millions of dollars in Station Wharf, Waterford Green, and it's beautiful, everything that we've done there. But what I do for a living, when you basically tell a seller how important it is that you need to buy his property, I don't know why we were shocked when suddenly the price from Mr. and Mrs. Hashey went up, and it did significantly. And then we even took the next step of having an appraisal done on it, I believe, and Mr. Manager, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but the appraisal from G.A. Barry's office came in at about $210,000, I believe. $215,000, sorry, thank you for that. $215,000. So, I mean, rather than come in at an offer of $215,000, which, I guess I could have lived with, we just decided, well, we'll start out at 250. And on their end of things, their asking price was 275, which that's free to them to ask. I mean, any seller can ask what they want. And then at the end of the day, we met in the middle, or at least that's what's on the table in front of me here right now, so that we can believe that we're getting some sort of a good deal out of the seller at 262.5. And and I just heard, for the record, at least 3 out of the 4 people in favor say that it's a terrible price for the acquisition, but we're still gonna vote for it anyway. So, I just wish, moving forward, in terms of negotiating with anybody, I don't care if they're in Chatham, Douglastown, Newcastle, Nelson, where they are in Miramichi, that we're a little smarter about things moving forward. It might save our taxpayers some money that could go to another project.